This is the Danger Yu-Gi-Oh channel, Danger speaking, and today I decided that we'd be going through another little look from my mom's collection. Ignore the tin, this is how I had to transport it over, but these are sealed slash open structure decks from back in the day. Now these decks, at least the sealed ones, are still in nice condition. The open ones, they've been what she would do is the first time she'd buy a deck, she'd open it and look at it to see what came in it, and she'd mark them off of a checklist that she had. So that's why some of these are opened. So I'm going to go through, see what we have here. All sorts of interesting things. So let's see, zombie deck, zombie deck, zombie deck. There's two open ones, that's interesting. Structure deck 8, that was, what was that, another zombie deck? That was, Harpies. Sealed Harpy. Sealed copy of the Fire deck. Open copy of the Warrior deck. Sealed copy of the Warrior deck. The Rock deck. Another copy of the Rock deck. And then we have the Cyrus and the Jaden starter decks. That's interesting. So, I just wanted to show you guys this as well. We just did a video on the Dinosaur's Rage deck. So I'm going to be going through at least the ones that are opened here and talking about them. Unfortunately, I will not be talking about the Fire deck here until I get a copy of it built from my collection, as well as I'm also working on getting a copy of Structure Deck 1 built. So that'll be a very fun video when we get around to it. I think for the part of today's video, we're going to take a look at the zombie deck here. I just kind of push these out of the way a little bit. Now, I know there's two open copies. It looks like the second one is heavily played. Well, not heavily played, but played. So everything will be out of order. This one looks like it'll be fairly complete. Oh, this was back in the day when everything got shuffled. Yeah, if you look and see here, everything's shuffled. They did that back in the day. It was actually really cool. So we have Vampire Genesis as the foil card. It is an ultra rare, which is really cool. I think Vampire Genesis has only had a total of like 3 prints. So getting a mint condition like this is actually really expensive. I watched just a copy of the empty box for this. No duel mat, no rule book, no freaking dueling guide. Thank you, brain. Go for almost 80 bucks. Just the box. And the mat and beginner's guide and all that went for another 50. Same seller. And then he was selling the individual cards. And wow, some of the cards went for really expensive prices. And then he also had a copy of the sealed deck, which as soon as that sold, suddenly all of the individual cards disappeared. So it seemed like he was trying to get the most money he could out of that by cheating people. Probably only had 1 copy of the deck itself, so he was trying to parts it out. And if he couldn't get enough money by time he sold the deck, it looked like he was just gonna try to refund everyone. Not. Yeah, I don't know what happened with that. That was about 6 months ago. So anyways, we have Vampire Genesis. Then it came with a copy of Dark Dust Spirit. Master Kainyoshi. One of the biggest normal monsters. I like it. Or at least level 4s. It's a 1750, so a lot of the things that people were running at the time, I think Gemini Elves at 1900 and Legend at 1800 were the 2 biggest. So Master Kainyoshi would go over just about everything else. Came with Trap Jammer, or Magic Jammer. Why did I say Trap Jammer? It's a trap card, that's why. but it came with a copy of Magic Jammer, which is one of my favorite counter trap cards of the original series era. Reckless Greed, which I run in my Trick Stars. Despair from the Dark. Call of the Mummy, a very indispensable card for zombie decks. I don't understand why when they play zombie decks today they don't play that. It's a free special summon every time they clear your board or if you go first. Very strong. Soul Absorbing Bone Tower. Pyramid Turtle. Creature Swap. Yeah, there used to be a combo with those two cards there. You Pyramid Turtle. Then you double summon for another Pyramid Turtle, or you'd set it and stop your opponent from attacking and whatever. Next turn, you'd get another Pyramid Turtle out, you'd Creature Swap, smack Turtle to Turtle, summon out 2 Ryokokis, depending on what they were running. If they were running worse than Spellcasters, you summoned 2 Ryokokis. If not, you normally went for a Ryokoki and a Vampire Lord. Very strong. Book of Life. Nobleman of Crossout, another Book of Life. Torrential Tribute. Vampire Lady, which is a smaller version of Vampire Lord, which back in the day, when this deck came out, people would run 1 copy just because it had the same effect. But when they actually came out with the Vampire Archetype, this card here was excluded from most players' decks, unless you were a hardcore Vampire player. And it came with Heavy Storm, another Pyramid Turtle, another Call of the Mummy, Compulsory Evacuation Device, Dust Tornado, another Despair from the Dark, Reload, Mystical Space Typhoon, the Vampire Lord, which you need to summon, Vampire Genesis. I believe the deck only came with 1 copy. Yeah, the Ryokoki I talked about, another Pyramid Turtle, Pot of Greed, now banned, sadly. A third Call of the Mummy, another Ryokoki, another Reload, Regenerating Mummy, which was a very strong card. Back then, things like Delinquent Duo had recently just been banned, so we didn't have to worry about that, and card destruction was limited to 1. But before this deck was printed, this was printed in a pack. I believe it was Pharaohistic Guardian, back when Delinquent Duo was still legal. And you would run things like this, Sinister Serpent, and have a very strong amount of success. Because, oh look, I have to discard something. Well, I'm gonna either discard my Sinister Serpent or my Regenerating Mummy, because it's being discarded by your opponent's card effect. Then you have Snatch, steal anything your opponent has. Another Compulsory Evacuation Device. Card of Safe Return, another thing that has been banned since this deck was printed, which is really sad. But it was abused in quite a few different decks, so it's understandable. Creature Swap, double cost in, easy way to summon out your double tribute zombies. In this deck, that would be your Despair from the Dark copies. But it can be used for any dark monster that needs 2 tributes. Your Spirit Reaper, which was and is still an amazing card. I remember back in, I think, 2008, I was just starting to play cards in local tournaments, and I ran across a kid who did alternate arts. What he would do is you'd give him a card, and he had a big bag of Sharpies on him. Now, I have a big bag of Sharpies here. His bag was like 8 times that size. I swear he had like every color that existed in like 7 or 8 different copies. And some of them were used to different amounts, so he could shade very well, and he did an alternate art of Spirit Reaper for me. And it came out amazing. He put some blood on the scythe, had a little bit of blood dripping down, made the background a more purple, ominous color. Made it look like he was actually coming up from hell. It was amazing. And finally we have another Compulse and another Regenerating Mummy. Now, I know this may have confused you because things were out of order, but most starter and structure decks back then came pre-shuffled. The only problem was the hollow was always to the front. So it was a good premise, but they should have randomly slid the hollow in there. Because now it's like, well, it's pre-shuffled, so little kids are going to be like, oh look, the cards are already shuffled up, I don't have to. put their deck down, they're gonna play, and it's like, I want to play my big boss monster. And they can't because it's at the bottom of their deck, unless something like Reload came along. Now, they weren't actually shuffled. They were just sent down out of the conveyor belt in a certain order. So it looks like one person shuffled the deck during the testing phases, and during production, whatever order the cards were in seems to be the order that they came down the machine on. So I do have 2 sealed copies here, as well as 2 used copies. These 2 sealed copies here will be for sale, probably in the range of $40, or make an offer no lower than $30. I will be including a rulebook and a duel mat. I have plenty of extra spare copies. It will be version 5.0, which is the version that came with this, as well as you'll be getting a mat like seen in this background. As well as I will try to find the dueling guide that came with it. I know I have a few, I don't know where they are exactly, but let me know if you're interested, and I will hunt around to try to find it for you. The only thing I cannot supply you is the box. You'll have to get your own box, but these 2 here are sealed. And if you would like, I can sell you a rebuilt version, if you don't mind that some of the cards will be in slightly damaged condition. It may take me a couple of weeks to get all the cards rounded up, because I have a very large collection. I mean, I don't know if you can tell here in this video, but my camera rig is made of Legendary Collection boxes. But anyways, if you would like a unsealed version, I'm willing to sell that for 15 to 20. Depends on what type of mood I'm in that day. So I want to thank you guys for watching. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And this is the Danger Yu-Gi-Oh channel, signing off.